Hey guys. Welcome back to another episode of Why the Hell Am I Building Anyway? Alright, so today we've got a kind of a special episode, out of the ordinary. I've got an open loop build that a customer brought in. The first issue is that it was leaking, number one, for the open loop. It was leaking. Number two, while he's gaming, he says it was stuttering. Which, you know, if it's leaking and it's stuttering, that means it's probably overheating, because it's got a lack of liquid or something in there. When I initially looked at it, I wasn't going to actually stream this, but from what I found, I have to share this with you guys. This is something I've never seen before happen, anyway, in an open loop. So let's go ahead and just switch over and take a look at it here. This is pretty crazy. I'm going to go to the top-down view of what I'm working on right now. So this here is the open loop, and I want to see if I can zoom in well enough here. I should be able to. Should be able to get a close look here. But do you see this tube here? You see this tube? This tube, this cooler, well, liquid stopped flowing through this tube here. Alright? The leak was right on the CPU block, so I'm hoping that the graphics card is actually okay, because that's where it would leak to, is right on top of the card. But this is where the leak was, and it was because the liquid got to a point where there wasn't enough liquid to flow in the loop, the liquid level, and that caused the liquid that's trapped now on the CPU block to hit a boiling point, and it actually, number one, it discolored the tube. It actually discolored it quite a ways. It also discolored the CPU block. But the leak started because it got so hot that it melted the tube around the compression fitting. So the metal compression fitting around the tube got so hot to the point where it just started melting the tube. And that made it so that the O-ring is no longer tight, and the leak started happening. It's actually on both of these runs here. So now we have to replace both of these tubes for sure. I took the block off because I was concerned that the heat may have caused some physical damage, and I just wanted to take a look. But we do notice that there's no contact frame here as well, so that sucks. I'm kind of in a position with the open loop where I'm not going to maneuver the case a lot, because I've got I don't have all the liquid out of the open loop yet. I had just had drained enough so I could get to the CPU block, because that's where the problem is. Take a look at how bad it was first off, to kind of just assess the damage. So we have to replace this run, that run, clean up the block, repaste the CPU, reblock, and I don't know if I'm going to replace that contact frame or not. But just to give you an idea, it is crazy how hot this thing had to have been to melt those tubes. I mean, look at it. Can you guys see the disformed tube here? It's crazy how hot it had to have been to actually have done that type of modification to the tube. It's just crazy to me. I've never seen this before, so I just wanted to share this because I've just never seen a tube get deformed like this because of the heat. So the lessons here, that's crazy, I know, it's crazy. The lessons here is, number one, if you have an open loop, don't let your liquid get to a dangerous low level. If you see that there's not enough liquid in your reservoir, hopefully you have a reservoir. If not, if you see low liquid in your tubes, it might actually be too late. You want to make sure you have liquid in your loop. So if you get to a point where you see your reservoir is getting low, it is very important to add liquid to that reservoir. Whether it's just distilled water or if you have the mix. This guy has, let me try to zoom out a little bit. He was using this HydroX XL8 coolant clear. I was fortunate enough to find some local because I don't like mixing liquids. But if you're in a dangerous situation where it's low, you're better off just putting distilled water in the loop to help keep it full, and then at a later time drain it, flush it, and then add the liquid that you want. But don't run it too long like that. Definitely not. And after you introduce multiple substances, I do recommend running a cleaner. Well, not really a cleaner, but more of a prep tool. Can't remember the name of it. Let me see if I have some sitting here. Like, just as an example, this kind of stuff, I'll run through it. This is loop prep. It's supposed to help kill off any bacteria that might be introduced into the system before you fill it, because you don't want bacteria in your loop. If you have any type of bacteria or any living organism in your loop, organism, not orgasm. Why did I say that? I don't know. If you have a I hope you have a living orgasm that's live out of this world. Never mind. All right, moving on. So, living organism inside your loops are not good. Bacteria, not good. It's kind of like the fish tank mentality. If you have a freshwater fish tank and you don't have anything in there to control the bacteria, what grows? Algae grows. Weird shit just starts growing inside the water. And you know, that's that's how life starts. So you don't want that stuff inside your loop because it builds up and it'll get on your fins of your block and really impact the cooling performance. So you don't want any bacteria or anything inside the loop. That's what it comes down to. So that's why you would run something like that if you're not confident it's clean. And normally I always just run something through it just to make sure. And I run that with a mixture of distilled water through the loop for, you know, usually I cycle it for like 8 hours, 8 to 12 hours. I'll cycle that stuff and then I'll drain it and then put the fluid in there that we're putting in. But in this case, I don't have that time frame. I have to have this rig up and running within probably the next, I'd say 4 hours, 4 or 5 hours. So what I have to do is, we'll zoom back out. And we'll kind of, oh, wrong way. Oh, wrong way. I hate this controller. So what I have to do is replace both of these runs, this one and this one, that go back to the reservoir to the front of the PC here, the front of the case. Both of those have to be replaced now. I have a towel here because I am going to undo this and there's some liquid in here. It's just going to drop on some fans and some radiators if it goes through the towel. I'm not really worried about that. But for the most part, I've got the liquid out of the loop except for the bottom radiator right here underneath this towel, and the graphics card right here has liquid in it still. But you know, it's not that big of a deal. So I'm going to replace these two. I'm going to clean up the block and put the block back on. And the other problem I have here now is the tube that I have here on hand ready to go is too thick for the diameter of the compression fittings that they have for this build. Plus, I don't trust the compression fittings that were on the CPU block now. He brought new ones with him, but I don't have the tube because I wasn't anticipating having to replace tube. I thought it was just a bad O-ring or something. But so now I have to replace the compression fitting. So I do have larger compression fittings. Wow. That will fit the tube that I do have. So that's what we're going to be using. And it's going to be a slightly larger tube for these 2 runs, but I have to replace 2 compression fittings here and 2 here on the block. I'm probably not going to do the same design that he has here. I'll try to match it, but is what it is, right? So in order to get this up and running today, I got to work with what I got. And then we also have to, after we finish and fill it, we got to test it to make sure that the CPU isn't damaged. We're not blue screening or anything like that, because it's obviously, it got extremely hot. The discoloration in the tube shows you how hot it got. This was a clear liquid, and it's blue tube right now. And same thing with the block. The block is blue. The clear acrylic on the block turned blue. So I'm really hoping that, number one, the block is still good after all that heat, because it could have damaged some of the seals, and I'm really concerned about that, but it looks like it's okay. Here, if we look, you'll see. I don't know if you can see it. I gotta zoom in here. So hot. Yeah, it got really hot. I know it's really blurry right now, but you see all that gunk inside there? Look at the gunk. The little bits and pieces. Look at the brown inside the tube. That's from boiling, guys. The liquid got so hot that it boiled in here because it couldn't move. Just to give you an idea how hot it got. I mean, I've never seen anything like this. Maybe on an old loop that's been around for like 5 years. You want a CPU tea? A cup of tea? You like a cup of tea? Hey, Link for Hunter, what's going on? But that is just crazy. Look at how deformed that tube is. Right? That's just... Gentlemen. We'll have a spot of tea. I've got my coffee here. U of M. This is Michigan. Got a cup of tea. So anyway, we've got to replace these two runs. Let me try to get I'll zoom out again. I was not anticipating having to do this today, but it is what it is. I went to the thrift store today, sometime looking for tech. Oh, okay. Yeah, you could sometimes find some decent, like, thrift store tech deals. I actually haven't been to the thrift store in a long time. But when I got $20 in my pocket, that's when I go. If you know what I mean, right? When I got $20 in my pocket. So, I actually was trying to remove this compression fitting over here, and it was being a little bit of a bee. This guy right here, and this one here, they're on tight. I found a laptop metal stand and a Casio digital watch. Nice. I actually don't know what the Casio digital watch is. Never seen it. Pretty bad for a tech guy not knowing what it is, right? Although I'm not really a watch guy. I have a Fossil, and I really don't use it. Like, it just, because my phone constantly dings, and it's just so obnoxious when because my watch is synced to my phone. Every little message, and I've tried cutting down the notifications and things, and it's just, I'm like, nope, can't do the watch. too much. My wrist is just constantly vibrating or flashing. But we are going to replace these two runs. I am going to replace it with a thicker tube because I think this is 12 millimeter or 14, and we're going to replace it with 16, which is what I do have on hand ready to go. I do have one tube, and it's not even full length, so I don't think it's enough tube for both of these that we could use to keep it the same size, but I'm just going to use the bigger stuff that I have, and I have enough of it to replace these runs. So, thought I'd share this. Somebody on the channel yesterday, because I'd mentioned this was coming in this morning, wanted to see this in action. So we are live just for you, some giant idiot who's not here. But, you know, I do more than just PC builds, as you can see. So here we go. I'm going to try to remove this, which we're not saving this compression fitting anyway, so I might have to get the pliers out to get this off, because it just doesn't want to loosen up at all. It's just trying to spin here. I don't know who built this or why they built it the way they did, but not good. Come on. I cannot break this compression fitting from the other piece. They're stuck together. Too bad it's only 12 hours. Real men use 24 hours. What do you mean by that? 12 hours. Are you talking about the Primo loop prep? Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be like perfect. They recommend, I think, 48 or 72. They want you to run it for 72 hours. Well, we don't use AM and PM. Oh, gotcha. Understood. Sorry. Gotcha. So you're talking military time. Understood. We don't use AM and PM here. Use 24 hours. Gotcha. So you know if it's AM or PM based on the actual time. Got it. Well, anyway, let's try to get this compression fitting off. I think I might actually have to get the vice grips out, because I can't get this off. It doesn't matter how hard I try. I feel like it's going to turn into a Linkin Park song. Actually, I might get it here. We're not going to reuse this compression fitting anyway, so I really don't care if I destroy it. I'm just shocked how tight it is, and then it breaks loose finally. That is just crazy. Oh my gosh. Look at the sediment buildup. You guys see that? That's gross. That is not normal. I'm kind of concerned about that. Like, where did that sediment come from? I don't know. This thing's gonna need a really good flushing. All I gotta say. Gamer fuel. This isn't gamer fuel, this is like swamp fuel. The other concern is how loose these compression fittings are. So whoever built this did not do a great job. I would give you an F. Look at the tube, guys. Look at that. Look at how gross that clear tube is now. That is just crazy to me. How bad that is. So I'm thinking I actually have to flush the living shit out of this whole loop. Alright guys, I gotta go run some distilled through this, or at least drain this, the CPU block. So I gotta go over to my sink and run some distilled through it. I'll be right back. I don't know if we're going to be able to... Hey, how's it going? Sweden talks all... Swedes must prepare for war. I don't know if we're going to be able to get and fix this thing. Let's zoom in on it. Oops, wrong way. Oops, bad cameraman. This thing's nasty. So, I don't know if you could see the grossness inside. I don't know if this Corsair block comes apart. I hate these Corsair blocks. What's up? How are you, King? How's it going, man? These Corsair blocks suck. I don't see an easy way to take this thing apart to give it a clean, because it's not good. This thing got so hot that it discolored the acrylic here, and there's some like residue shit in here, and I just don't even want to put this back in the loop. It's gross. I'm gonna check to see if we can get one of these locally. Yo, just came here and you were gone. I was trying to rinse this, flush this out. I had to do it over a sink. But look at how gross that thing is. It's nasty. I'm gonna check to see if we can get one from Micro Center, one of these, or another block for the socket. Yeah, it's like 89 bucks. We can get one. It's in white, not black, so it'll actually match the motherboard. It's just about sending a signal to the Reds, you know? Yeah, I mean, I think it's crazy that we're talking about that, though. It's just... I hope that kind of shit doesn't start blowing up. The other problem I see here with this build is look at the GPU and look at how it's sagged. That's from no brace. Constantly being pulled down probably by the liquid here. So we need a peg here to help hold it. It's already, the card's already ruined. It's bowed. You can't really fix that at this point. And that's on a block. That is just, everything about this build just irritates me. You hope they bring some anime figures? Japan lands spacecraft on moon as fifth nation. Oh, that's new. Alright, so we're gonna have to replace the block. There's nothing that I can do with this block. This thing's shot. It's disgusting. I'm not even gonna bother to clean it. If he needs this... for me to clean this, I need to run this through a pump for like 72 hours. And then I gotta take it apart, or I gotta take it apart first, clean it, and then run it through a pump 72 hours with some cleaner to keep it clean, clean it the best we can, because we don't want any of that residue to get filtered through back through the loop. Because I don't know what the hell that is, but it's built up from overheating, and it's disgusting, and it's ruined the block. So, in my opinion, that's trashed. The tubes were trashed. I don't know the status of the CPU yet. I'm gonna assume it's okay because it thermal throttled. By the way, he was explaining it. It performed like shit. So I'm gonna assume this just thermal throttled and protected itself. I don't see any like major signs of significant heat on it, so the thermal paste was trashed. A lot of shit on this build. Shitty situation. So we got to replace that, replace the tubes. I got to call him. I do have to run out and pick one of these up, so I am going to have to probably end the stream and come back to it with a replacement later. We're going to look for water and other elements that sustain human life. Oh, you mean over on the moon? I mean, I doubt anybody lived on the moon, man. That place is so barren. I doubt it had an atmosphere. The only place I think in our solar system that could have possibly sustained life a long time ago would be Mars. Mars would be probably the only place to look, and maybe a planet that's further away, because there's a possibility that under ice there could be life. So maybe a moon, what is it, one of Saturn's moons, I think it is. Hey, what's up? When is this thing last serviced? This thing was built not by me 8 months ago. So this is not one of my builds. But this customer purchased this build on Marketplace, and I think just lacked knowledge on open loops. The liquid level dropped to a dangerous level, so the fluid stopped flowing, and there was fluid trapped in the block, and the pump wasn't moving the liquid. And unfortunately, it boiled to the point where it melted the tube. That started a leak, which made it worse. And the computer still runs, but the block is just garbage. It boiled. You can see the discoloration in here, and there's all sorts of crap just built up into here from boiling water, and boiling the tube. Yeah, it's a mess. So I got to replace 2 tubes. I got to replace the block. I'm hoping that the CPU is okay. He didn't tell me it was blue screening. He just said it was just stuttering while he was gaming. This is why it's stuttering, because the CPU is boiling your what is it? Your noodle water. So user error. It's user error slash lack of knowledge around an open loop. He went on Marketplace. He got this banger deal. It's a i7-12700K on a 690 motherboard with an RTX 4090 with an EK block and 2 radiators and a Corsair distribution block, all open loop, for 2,800 bucks is what he bought this for. So it's a steal for him. He got this for a really good deal. It's just the person who assembled it didn't do the greatest job with the bends, I think. Yeah, right? Holy crap. It's almost the cost of the RTX 4090 today. The downside is, if you look closely, Red, if you look closely here, this graphics card has a bow. And I don't know why it has a bow, but it's bowed like this. So this 4090 is already ruined. There's nothing I can really do about this except for maybe get a peg here and help support it. But it's ruined. I'd be charging like 1K labor for something like that. Yeah. I mean, I initially quoted him because I thought all we were going to have to do is replace a compression fitting, which is what I thought was the leak. But look at this. Look at this tube. Here, let me zoom in for you. It'll autofocus here in a second, I think. Look at that tube. The compression fitting got so hot. I don't know why it's not trying to focus on this. But it got so hot that it melted the tube. Right here. Around where the compression fitting would be. And it discolored the tube. That's how hot the CPU block got. Yeah, you can see it in the video. Yeah. It's crazy how hot that got before he called somebody for help. I thought that was crazy. Link for Hunter, they call it the Mission Moon Sniper. Interesting. Yeah, I know. I was pretty shocked when I saw it come, when he brought it in. I was like, oh boy. This isn't just a compression fitting for a leak. Yeah, the same here, man. It's here. I don't know if I can maybe position this better and get a better up-down view on it. I think if we zoom out, you might be able to see it a little better. Yeah, you can see it better this way. But you could see how bad the GPU is. Like, it's flat up top, and then the backside is just sagging. And that's with an EK block, and the EK block is like a brick. It doesn't move. And it's sagging with the block. I've never seen that before. A block sag like this, I've never seen that before. So either he bought a card used and it was sagging already, or I don't know. I don't know. I've never seen that before. So I'm gonna try to get a peg here and help with the weight. It can't move very much either, which is shocking to me. So it's solid metal. I don't know how that exactly. I don't know. So either I've discovered a flaw in EK's blocks, or he had like a 20-pound weight on the top of this card. I don't know. Thinking it was a nice shelf inside the PC. Or the leak was up here on the CPU and water got down here and it got on the card and somehow magically hasn't destroyed the card yet. It does look like a shelf, yeah. Yeah, put your elf on there. But it's not Christmas time anymore. So it's interesting, definitely. This so I had to go live with this when it came in. I was like, all right. So I drained the loop, the majority of the liquid out of the loop, and got down to the tube. Saw the tube that was disformed, and I'm like, I have to go live with this. This is something I've never seen before, and I doubt really any other builders have really, or at least rarely, see something like this. So we had to go live with it, and my plan is to replace this block. Micro Center over here by me has another block. It's in white, so it'll go good with the ASRock motherboard that we already have here. The Steel Legend. It'll look nice. They don't have it in black. They only have it in white, but I don't think he really cares. So I'm gonna go with that block. Go run and get that. It's like 89 bucks. I've got tube here for this, except it's a thicker tube, and I have the new thicker. It's like 16 millimeter versus I think he used 12 for the tube, and then I've got new compression fittings that I'll replace because I just don't trust it. Then once I get that replaced, I'm going to run fluid through the loop for as long as I can because he needs this back tonight. So it's a rushed kind of project at this point. And the more and more I get into it, the more and more I'm finding wrong. So I'm going to keep it at the CPU. I might also replace the LGA contact frame with a since it's going to be under a block and it's an open loop. It's not going to be touched for a while. Yes, I'm just going to replace the two tubes that were broken with 16 millimeter because I don't have 12 millimeter here, and Micro Center doesn't have it either. So I do have one tube of 12. It's just not long enough to complete both of those runs. If it was a direct run and I had the elbows and extensions to go over the RAM, it would work fine, but I don't. He had it bent up and over and around the RAM and then back to the distribution block, and I was just going to match those runs. It makes it easy to remove the RAM, although you shouldn't have to remove the RAM in this system. I don't know. I don't know. I haven't decided. I could just do the 12 millimeter and just do the direct runs. Maybe I'll just do that. But I do have to cut the stream here because I do have to run to Micro Center to go get this part. And get this in here because he's got to have this back today. Do whatever is faster. Yeah, I know at this point. I do like going around the RAM or go high enough over the RAM so that you can remove the RAM and pull it out. I don't like trapping RAM in an open loop. I hate that. It must be nice to have a Micro Center. I just have a Best Buy. Yeah, no, I don't know why I'm not a VIP customer over there yet, because I'm there like every day. It's stupid. You should be thankful you don't have a Micro Center there, because you'd be there every day spending money you probably don't need to spend. I'm constantly there spending money on stupid shit I don't need. But no, I mean, it is very helpful to have a Micro Center when you're fixing stuff. I need a silver buy button for Amazon and Newegg with the amount I spend. Yeah, with Newegg Business, I don't know if you have a business account. I had mine at the whatever the highest level is on my account, because I bought so much shit from Newegg. Excuse my French. I had bought so much stuff from Newegg that it was I had like the VIP account, you know, with a whole bunch of perks like free shipping and free rush, so they got my orders were priority to get out. I just stopped ordering stuff through Newegg. It's just I had too many issues, just like Gamers Nexus had. I had issues with motherboards where I got number one, their listings don't really define the, hey, it's an open box very clearly. So if you're in a rush and you order, sure, it's my fault for doing that. But I received the board, it had bent pins, and I tried to send it back. and they declined it. So I had multiple of those instances where that happened, and I'm like, you know what? I'm done. You know, if I buy from Amazon, I have bent pins, I send it back, there's no questions asked, I get a refund. It's... Why would I shop at Newegg when that happens? There was a big electronics store called Computer City. I missed that store. Yes, I actually remember. There's quite a few stores that actually closed that were cool, like Comp USA or something like that, or Comp something. There's a couple of them. I do have a business account with both. It's just nice not to pay sales tax and get 5% back on everything I buy from Amazon. Yes. Well, you can actually take your EIN and submit it to Newegg, and then you won't be charged sales tax. You just have to go through that process to set it up. Got to run to a meeting. All right, man. We'll see you, Red. See you, Redneck. Good chatting. But I am going to kill the stream as well, because I'm going to give him a call, let him know everything I got to do, and then I've got to run to Micro Center and pick this up before I can proceed. So at this point, I'm just going to pull the stream. You do have it set up on Newegg too? Okay. But, all right, maybe I read it wrong. It's nice to not pay sales tax and get 5% back on everything when I buy from it. Yeah, there you go. Because you probably have the Amex then, right? Yeah, it's a good deal. Well, cool, man. I'm gonna cut the stream. So I'll see you guys in a little bit. I'll be back live here, hopefully within about an hour or two, depending on how long it takes me to get down there with all the snow. Oh boy. I gotta go clean the car off. I gotta go pile myself into the car. I gotta drive, hopefully make it out of my driveway because it snowed. And then I gotta make it to the Micro Center. I know, I'm real world problems. We'll see you guys in a little bit. Don't drink that hot juice. No, definitely not. I'll stay away from the hot juice. Don't worry about that. I'll drink hot coffee. This is Michigan. All right, guys. Be back in a bit. Bye. We'll continue the repair in a little bit.